What's going on, guys? I'm Renegade, and that beautiful mess is my 1986 Suzuki Intruder. Yeah, it's kind of a mess right now. It's being taken apart. The reason it's being taken apart is because it's a very important day today. Today is actually dismantling and sanding and cleaning and painting. That means we're almost to the end of this build. Which I'm actually really looking forward to, because it's, although it hasn't been super long, certain things have been taxing, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to having it done. I'm looking forward to actually seeing it all done. As always with any of my build series, if you come in part way and you want to catch up, there's a link down below in the description to the playlist for the entire build. Everything from day one when I bought the bike to when it will be done. And also, if you guys like this type of thing, builds like I'm doing now, obviously subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. But if you want to help support, you can also feel free to buy me a coffee. Link's also down in the description for that. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a while working on this bike, and now, well, we're at paint. So that means something good, right? Hopefully what I have planned in my head, concocted up, will look really cool. Like I said, the whole goal here was to take this bike, which is from 1986, and bring it into the modern era and kind of make it timeless. So we'll see how that goes. But first things, I gotta dismantle a little bit. And that's it. Well, that's all I need to take off for what I'm doing. Obviously I could go all the way and I could pull the motor out and pull everything off and give the frame a full coat of paint, but it's really a pain and you're only going to see a little bit of it. So it's not quite worth it for me with this project. And besides, the paint is in pretty good condition. I'm just doing a little bit of touch-up work, so it's all good. But now, yeah, I actually have to sand the whole bits and whatnot. And luckily, Miss Stephanie is willing to help me with that, because it'd be a pain in the butt to do by myself. So, special thank you to her. Poor Stephanie hates me right now.
No, I don't.
So, Steph and I have been sanding all night. Many, many, many hours later than my intro when I recorded that. Oh yeah. But we got everything sanded. The tank is all sanded down. Got the side covers, radiator guard, rear fender, front fender, and frame. At least one of it I could get to. So, how do you feel about sanding?
It's boring and tedious, but it's not hard.
But it's very necessary.
Yeah.
So this tank and all the other pieces have been sanded down with an 80 grit to start, then a 200 grit, or 220 grit, then 1000 grit, and on rough spots, we went 220 to 500 to 1000. We used the power sander for as much of it as I could, the random orbital sander. Just because, well, nobody wants to do it all by hand. It sucks hardcore. But then the 1000 we did do by hand because you want to make sure that that's really smooth and you want to be able to feel it as you're working. So yeah, getting ready to clean up and do all that fun jazz. But I got a couple tricks I want to show you guys.
In his natural habitat.
Alright. Messy in a garage, my natural habitat. One thing I opted to do was to actually paint the controls black. These were that natural metal that you see on a lot of older bikes. Kind of like the old front forks. And, well, let's face it, that kind of looks a little funky. So I painted it black. It's going to sleek it up a little to make it look a little more modern and, well, not gross. But there's a problem with this. So I did rough up the buttons a little because they're going to wear anyway. But if you notice, I don't know how well you'll see, probably not well, but it does say on the buttons high, low, I think that said turn, I think that says horn, but you can barely see it. The same is said for this side. I think that one said off, that one said run, I think this one said start. So, with these being worn off, now not that anybody who owns this bike should ever not know what the controls of a motorcycle does, but just to be on the safe side, we're going to label them. Now, how do you label something like this when the original one was obviously put on by a computer or a label that, you know, etched everything in? The answer? Sharpie paint pen. These things are worth their weight in gold. Now, I'm not sponsored by them. Although, hey Sharpie, if you're watching, I'd be a great sponsor. I use your stuff all the time. What's great about this is that you literally draw it or write on like you would a pen. But it disperses paint, which is awesome. Just like that, they're labeled. But, cool little trick. If you already painted your controls and you need labels or your labels have worn off, really easy trick. And if you really feel like getting squirrely, you can actually make them say whatever you want. I mean, I could have kill, go, whatever. Or a lot of modern bikes have ditched the actual wording and now they're just using the symbols for them. If I wanted to, I could have put those on instead to just make it that much more modern looking. I like the wording. I think it's classic. I think it's timeless. So that's what I went with. Now the next step is to touch up the frame, as I mentioned. Now I do have everything sanded down. I did wipe it down with some isopropyl alcohol to make sure it's all nice and clean. And as you see, I've got some sheathing over the engine because, as I said, I'm not pulling the engine. It's so much work. It's just... the frame paint is not that bad. It just needs a little sprucing up. So, I've got sheeting over the engine, but obviously there's some stuff, like this is difficult to get covered in stuff. I don't feel like pulling the engine harness and everything out. Thin cardboard. I've got Life Cereal. Again, not sponsored. But actually you can use the thin cardboard to hold behind things and kind of fold it into place so that you don't get overspray. Because it's thin and you can easily contort it, you can actually move it as you're spraying. So luckily I have some, so that's what we're going to do. Much better. It's not perfect, but it's okay, because it is the frame. Now, obviously, before anybody goes and writes in the comment section, that's not how you're supposed to do it. I know. But remember, this is a budget build. We're trying to do things on the cheap, but the most efficient way. I want the results, but maybe we're not going all the way out. Trust me, this is gonna work. It's gonna look great. And if nobody saw this video, nobody's gonna know the wiser. I don't have a caffeine addiction. So now we've got all of our pieces. Side covers, radiator shroud, front fender, rear fender, and tank. All sanded down, wiped down with isopropyl alcohol, and wiped down with a tack cloth to remove any residual smuts. Now, this next step is something that you probably don't need to do, but I don't know, maybe I'm just a little crazy, but I want to make sure I do it. I'm actually going to spray all these pieces down with self-etching primer first, which is going to kind of bite, actually etch itself into these pieces. Especially where we've got bare metal. I just kind of worry about the primer on it. It shouldn't be a problem, but just in case, we're going to do it. Principle of spraying spray can, rattle can, whatever you want to call it, compared to a spray gun. What it's in. Use the same principles as you would your spray gun. Overlap, move in smooth, even passes, back and forth. Try and keep the spray the same distance from the piece as you go to allow your wrist to kind of break when you do it. And feel free to move around the piece. And always keep a wet edge. Now that we've got the self-etching primer on, now I know for a fact that any paint I put on top of it is really going to bite in and stay. I probably didn't need the self-etching primer, but I like to be extra precautious. For this, we're going to use Duplicolor Yes, I know people are going to say there are better brands out there, but hey, you know what? I've been using this and it works just fine for my purposes. If I can get the lid off. There we go. Milky white. Yes, I'm using an actual spray gun for this. And yes, I shook it up beforehand. And yes, this is strong. Always wear your respirator when dealing with paint, but if I do that, y'all can't hear me. So now I'm going to put it on, and now I'm going to spray some color. Alright folks, so it's the next day. I kind of ran into a bit of a problem with the battery last night. So, yeah. But I did get everything sprayed down with the primer and then with the black. So, let's take a look. I think they came out pretty darn nicely. Look at that. That shine. Obviously I opened the garage door, so now there's dust on it, but not half bad, huh? What do you think? Yeah. So now becomes the fun part, because I'm going to lay out some graphics. But in order to do that, I got to put all the parts back on. Hell yeah. Alright, now that looks a lot better than what it was when I got the bike. So much nicer. That high gloss, man, gorgeous. Now, this bike being all black with the chrome and the silver, yeah, it looks nice. But we're going to make it a little more unique. Because custom bikes? Let's talk about the two elephants in the room. One, you might have noticed, this is now black. Yes, I painted the cylinders. When I was designing the bike, I was looking at it and seeing that you had a lot of black up top. The tank, the side covers, both fenders, the seats, they're all black. And you got this big, giant silver motor. Well, silver and chrome, obviously. Now, I love it. I think it looks really sharp. But from a design aspect, from the artistic part of me, oh God, it's really windy out there. From the design aspect, I'm looking at it and I'm just thinking like, it kind of looks like a black bike perched on top of a silver motor. Like it doesn't look all one. So to bring the black down into it, I sprayed these jugs with engine paint. There's good, hard paint, good for high temperature. I painted my car's motor with it when I disassembled the whole thing. Makes it look amazing. And it does bring the black down, so now the engine kind of fits in with the whole bike. Also, you might notice that the radiator shroud is a different shape. I really like the design of this bike. I love the body line. It's really curvy. But then you have this great curve back here. And then right here just flattened out. Not a huge fan of that. So what I did was, just real simply, I just took a couple pieces of stock metal, cut them, bent them, welded them. Now we've got a real nice curved line on that. And there's plenty of clearance between the front wheel and fender and that. So no matter how hard of a bump you hit, you're not going to clip that. You know, it's just little touches like that that really make a motorcycle. You know what they say, right? The devil is in the details. Well, yeah. Obviously, I got a couple other little things I'm going to do. The next part, obviously, is for me to lay out my graphics on this bike. No, I'm not going to tell you what they are. It's going to be a little bit of a surprise. So, I hope you all had a good day. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, remember to leave a thumbs up. If you got any questions or comments, make sure you leave them down in the comments section. We're almost there, folks. I think next video should be completely done. Y'all have a good one. Keep rocking and rolling. I'll keep taking care of business. I'll see you in the next one.